in other words, to collect the energy and to reflect it
Sure.
and to show it, and the asbestos stylish that we could put on that roof. You know,
Okay.
the ladies don't like it. They say it's
Why?
going to. Well, they feel as though that it's going to take away the showing
aesthetic
and the
beauty of the
rouge,
house.
in other words, of the roof. And you know,
Yeah.
in some years, and you're going to walk up and down the streets and you're going to see solar on almost every house because it's a thing of the future.
Well, a lot of people thought with those wind turbines.
Windmills.
They didn't like them out into the ocean. They don't like them circling. They had a big problem with that. But now it's accepted. And
Farms, though.
the
Windmill
farms have it,
farms.
and also in the water.
Yes.
You look in Bayonne. They got one over there,
That's right.
on the water.
Most of your heavy air currents to support these things are going to be found out in deep water on the oceans. There's a new solar wind farm being built off the Atlantic, off the Rhode Island, Massachusetts coast.
Oh, wow.
And the problem right now is that technology is there now, but remember, when it transmits and when it generates this power, that power has to be transmitted. So we're in the early stages of developing new grids to handle all of this new technology as well.
Listen, when we get to that, the company will stand by. If, like he just mentioned, new grids, if there's something that's going to give more efficiency and they want more power to go into the system, then we're going to entertain it. We're going to go back to the customer and say, listen, this is what it's all about. Cost factor, we didn't get to that yet. And we're not entertaining that right. Right now, out of pocket, residential, no out of pocket. All the companies, if somebody is charging somebody to put these things together, there's something wrong. That's when you call me on that number. Because out of pocket on residential, no, right, Nick? No out of pocket.
Most systems can be installed with no out-of-pocket cost.
And there are incentives. So
Yes, there are incentives.
I'm sure there are scammers out there, so people have to be aware.
There's very little regulation in the industry, which is part of the problem. So companies can usually up their charges for different systems and so forth. So you can have some of that. Most companies are very reputable.
Right.
Solar panels also come with warranties from the manufacturers, which stretch 25 years. So even if a company went out of business, you still got a manufacturer's warranty. And people ask us all the time, is my panel going to break? The fail rate on a solar panel is about 1 in 10,000. There are no moving parts in it. And they will take hail shots at over 200 miles an hour and not be dented, cracked, or damaged. So there's very little maintenance involved. There's very little fail rate involved. It comes down to cost versus benefit. Our way of doing business is I want to deliver a system to my customer that costs them very little upfront money and lowers their bills immediately. Not 2 years from now, not 5 years from now, but today. I want my customers to all have energy savings up front. I discovered very early on in this business, a lot of people want to talk about being green, going green. But if it's not green in their pocket, Pat, green for the environment will take a back seat. So when we properly design our systems, it's green in their pocket up front, and it helps their community and their environment.
And I'm sure all the companies now, pretty much, are thinking the same trends.
Absolutely.
They want to conserve the energy,
Absolutely.
and they're trying to get the information out there. They're all over the place. I see them in Home Depot and over
That's
in,
right.
Yes.
Lowe's.
It depends upon what we're doing here. If we can go out, and he educated me, all right, on a water valve, it's another story. I sort of let him know where, what, and what. It took us a little while to get this thing rolling, and that's in the plumbing end of it. You understand? So we, more or less, as we go along, we will educate other people to go out and talk to people. it may not be as good as the way we do it. See, because we make it like a hobby in a sense. I'm thrilled that I can really do a service and a good service, but a lot of people don't want to believe it. They just figure, well, wait a minute, how can this be no out of pocket? What's going on? There's got to be some sort of, there is nothing there that we're not going to tell them what's going to be in that sense. And we won't put anything together unless it's going to work the proper way. It's the thing of the future, because the thing is, it'll stop brownouts.
What's brownhouse?
Brownouts is when they shut, in other words, they brown you out when there's a strong pull. They brown out a whole neighborhood. They can't catch up. So they shut it down.
I see.
They shut it down. They can't produce the electric. So now when the sun, this is a long time coming, all right? And there's a lot more work to be done. And it'll go on and on and on and on. But people have to believe that this is the thing of the future. Give them the roof. They lease the roof. It's a 20-year deal. A lot of people, the older people, don't want to do it, and they say that's because, 20 years? I don't need to worry about the 20 years. What am I going to do with this whole thing? But think about the savings in the meantime. So it's an educational situation.
Very important, John. 'cause
Very
that's
important.
exactly what we do, Pat. We want to educate our consumers.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to make a decision for a customer. I want to understand who they are. I want to put the facts and the data on the table. I
Right.
want to help them understand it, and I want to help them make a decision that they're comfortable with, not something that I want to push upon them. We're not those kinds of salesmen. We consider ourselves educators.
Well,
If we have to go back and see a potential customer
There's
3
a
or
half
4
a mi-
times to make them comfortable and answer their questions, that's what we'll do.
There's 500,000, there's 500,000 people on Staten Island.
That's a lot of people.
We can't get to every one of them. So the competition is out there. The competition is the explaining of the method of solar. So we want people to come out and to move in that direction. We want the other companies to educate the people. We can't get to every one of them. It would be almost impossible. See, because the thing is, we have a situation at times when people have been approached. Happened today. Oh, we talked about it. They gave a whole thing about solar, and we didn't decide. Now I'm there, Nikki's there, and we're talking to them. We're going to go see their board of directors, and we're going to explain to them exactly what we have.
What people need, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Because education, environment, these
Right.
are the environmental issues. So I just want to ask Nick one question,
Oh, go ahead.
okay? And then we have to move on. We have a ton of
We
material.
got a ton of other things, right?
Okay, one
Go ahead.
question. I was looking at a magazine, and they had solar panels to cook in your backyard. Did you ever hear of that?
You've got a lot of different applications depending on where you are in this country right now, too. Most of the systems here in the Northeast and the metropolitan areas in the country are what we call grid-tied systems. That means you're feeding the power into the grid and taking it out of the grid. Then you have in a lot of rural areas and some states that allow it what we call off-grid systems. You don't have to be tied in. You actually can have smaller systems or larger systems that generate power and that you store in batteries. Okay, they
see.
tend to be a little bit more expensive at times, and they work better in different environments in this country. But the nice part is, no matter where you live in the country, on grid or off grid, a lot of the things that we're talking about here tonight are available, and people can take advantage of them.
Well, you got the guy in Rosebank that's got the trailer in the backyard, and he's looking for a system, just as you explained. So Nikki's doing the research
The
on
other
it.
part to that
Research,
is
yes.
some companies won't do what we call a small system. They won't go out to somebody that's just looking for a couple of panels to power something in his yard. It's not profitable to them.
I see,
So
yeah.
you need a company that's willing to accommodate their reps and their customer base and say, well, you know what, I'll go and take care of that. We have one of those situations now And one of my companies, in fact, will accommodate us because of the amount of business we do with them, and they'll take care of this customer.
Okay, again, it's the research, and you know, I want people to be aware, especially Staten Island, it's the thing of the future.
Absolutely.
And I want to just go on a little bit.
Absolutely.
We can always come back. But the next topic, we have our LED lighting.
Oh,
And I
Ed,
mean,
talk to the professor, right there. Go
well,
ahead.
there's a professor over there.
I know that, but
There's
Nikki's
another professor.
well versed on
Okay.
LED lighting.
Okay, now I know LED, but what does it really stand for?
LED, most people know what LED is, but they don't know what the letters stand for.
Right.
It's a light emitting diode. It's an actual type of equipment that generates light in a very efficient manner. LED lighting is probably one of the simplest things consumers can do today to lower their energy costs and lower the carbon footprint. They're readily available in hardware and box stores. Every type of light you have in your house or around your house, they have a bulb now in an LED fashion. They pull very little energy from the system to generate the power. They're brighter. They last almost forever. And today, they come in a variety of different colors. Whenever we've sat with a potential customer and done our solar presentation, I always start and or finish by saying, by the way, have you started changing over to LED lighting? Well, isn't that expensive? Yes, they cost more than regular bulbs do, but the benefits far outweigh the cost. And my suggestion is this: start room at a time. Take the room you use the most, switch those lights over. A month later, go to the next room, switch them over. In the course of a year, switch your whole house over, and you'll be marveling at the difference when you get those utility bills at the effect they have. It's not complicated. It's simple. You just go out and buy them and put them in.
Okay, do they have like the 60, a power
Absolutely.
of 80? What's the lowest and what's the highest you can get?
Any bulb you have, I did, the last thing I did in my house was little chandelier bulbs. I didn't use it
LEDs?
that often, but they have them. I tell my customers, my clients, write down the size of the bulbs in each room
Yeah.
and throughout your whole house, carry it with you. When you're in one of the box stores or a hardware store, they always run sales on them too.
I've
Pull
seen
out
them.
your list
Yeah.
and pick up a few. Go home, just put them in. It's done. You don't need a contractor or a licensed electrician, and it really doesn't affect your pocket that much when you do it that way. But it does affect your energy bill. You'll see it very quickly, and you may not think it, but the less electricity we use, the less fossil fuel we use, the better our environment is for what we're doing. So I always talk to people about LED lighting. And big commercial establishments, they're starting to really catch on to this, and they're starting to build new construction with LED lighting from the onset.
Well, at the college, there are environmental programs and classes that the students are taking right now, and you know, they're the future.
We want to go and we spoke to some of the professors, and we're willing to go up there on our own time and explain exactly what we're doing here on our time and show them what's going on. I mean, you know, what the difference. And when you go into some of the other products, you'll find out that that is also an education thing, which you have here, which is all green.
All green. We
All
have to
green.
go all green.
All green.
All green.
The green thumb.
That's it too. Garden, sky, air, water,
Well, that's
everything.
what Nikki made up cars, and it shows the green.
Researcher.
It's all
That's our
green.
researcher. You have to stay green,
Right.
even with the print.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to keep going because we have a lot of
Go ahead. We
material.
want to get everything in here.
Okay, we have something called a smart valve.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what that is until I read it, but maybe you can explain to Staten Islanders and people out there in television land.
Well, we have the
What
patent.
is it?
We-
What is it?
Because of our involvement in the environment we're in the enterprises we do, we get a lot of different ideas come across our desk. And this is primarily what we call a commercial application, not a residential. And I had a company come to us and they showed us this valve that they invented and got patented. And it had its start in California. Now, we're talking about a water valve here, and water is the next great challenge in the world, not just here in the United States. 2/3 of
And
the world is
expensive, too.
water, but we don't have enough
And
to drink, to
expensive,
cook
Nikki.
with, to use. It's not there. California feels it the most. What this is, we call it, it's brains for your water meter. When you have water running through your system, it passes through a meter. You pay the water company. That water carries air with it.
I didn't know that.
The meter doesn't distinguish water from air. So whatever passes through that meter, you're paying for. You're paying for air. Every time you turn on a faucet, flush a toilet, use anything in a building, it causes variances in the pressure, which cause the meter to overspin, and you're paying for the overspinning. This patented valve sits in the main just beyond the meter on the user side, and it has a spring in it. It causes a backflow, a pressure. That pressure breaks down that water before it hits the meter, so you're not paying for water anymore. It also helps regulate the flow going through that meter, which means you're using less water. Most commercial users of this great product find a 10 to 20% reduction in their
Guaranteed.
utility bill.
Guaranteed.
Which means they're using less water. We're conserving a precious resource. States, communities, townships are now looking at this type of a valve, not because they're paying for water, they're looking to conserve water. They're looking to stop the waste of water, another valuable commodity we have here. When we talk about energy conservation, saving, going green, this valve sits right in our wheelhouse here. It's a perfect complement to what we're bringing to the market for our commercial customers.
And how old has this idea been?
This has been around for over 10 years, and again, it's patented, and we use certified plumbers that work with us to do all the installs on this.
They started in the Bronx. They started in the Bronx in the larger buildings. Then it came to us with the green program. In other words, being that they had this valve and they were selling it up to the Bronx, it was brought down and they said, okay, bring it to Staten Island and start bringing it out to the plumbers, because it's gonna make work for the plumbers too. All right. Now it takes only about maybe an hour and a half. The biggest thing is on the shutdown. You have to go in there early on the restaurants, especially where we're finding out that dishwasher never shuts off. We're finding out that the water that's being used in a restaurant is unbelievable, right? Then they ask Nikki and I right away, how much is the valve going to cost?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So Nikki goes in. I look at the pipe size. I tell Nick the pipe size. That'll determine the size of the valve, and that's what they're going to pay for.
So
they're going to determine the size of the main
The size.
determines the price of the valve.
Okay.
Then Nikki analyzes it because they give him the water bill for the year, and Nikki actually tells them how much they're going to save in water per year. And then he also goes on to tell them how long it's going to take them to pay for the valve.
Okay, now other plumbers would also know about this.
No,
Not too many. So this is
no.
like
We're
a new
we're
innovation.
educating the plumbers who I know, about 90% of them on Staten
Here's
Island.
the other thing about that valve pack.
Go ahead. Nick.
Yeah.
We don't put it in the plumbing supply houses. It's not on a shelf.
Right.
So you don't have a plumbing supply house that's marking it up, selling it to a plumber who's then going to mark it up.
Oh,
We don't
The
want
valve
price
has to come
gouging.
through registered dealers like us. And we'll sell the valve, and we'll have the plumbers then come work with us, and they'll install the valve. So we create a good partnership there. If I come across a potential customer, I have plumbers I work with that I'll bring in. I create work for them. If the plumbers come across a customer, they bring us in. We help sell it, so it helps create work for them. The ultimate beneficiary is the end user, our customer. They save on water, they save on money, the environment works out, and we're creating more work for the plumbing community as well.
You realize that we're running into situations where the water usage is actually $50,000 per year.
Oh, no.
Can you
Really?
imagine that?
It has to.
When he
you have to do
analyzes with the
something.
water bill, 50,000, and it's not just one restaurant, it's most of them. Now, they're not wasting water. They need to maintain their water heaters and their hot water, and they need to wash those dishes because of the water health, and they need the water to be right there for them, okay? So
Yeah.
they're not wasting water. They're using that water. So it's our job to go in there, again,
And
Nick, this is the size of the valve. He analyzes the uses of the water, how much water they're using, and then we tell them how much the valve is going to cost. And then the first thing out of our mouths, we say, "Who's your plumber?"
That's
We're
it.
not, we're
Well,
not
you're
looking.
not trying to pitch something. You're just trying to do the research so people are aware of
Yeah,
this new
we have
technology.
to. We have to pay for the valve. We can't just.
Sure.
We're not Santa Claus that we're going to say, "Oh, wrap it up in a gift and say here." Okay. However, down the road, the city of New York and the state of New York is going to realize the fact that they are saving water.
Eventually.
Eventually, they'll come. The same thing is there was a program on conservation water toilets. And the city of New York
Yeah.
sent it out to the plumbers
Yes,
and
yes.
said, okay, you saw 1.6 instead of 6 gallons, all right, when you flush. So 1.6, all right? That's all the water is when you flush. 1.6 gallons of water
Yes,
is for the flushing. It gives like a whoosh.
That's right. a
I even have
swish,
to,
like
yeah,
a-
wow, right? Okay, so they went on that program, and the plumbers, all the buildings in the city of New York, their toilets were changed.
Okay.
It was a water program, all right? Now, when they find out, it's up to us to try to work this thing out so they know what's going on. We're doing everybody a service.
Okay. I'm going to break in for a second.
You got
Time's
it.
going by fast.
This is your program.
Wow. You guys are helping, though.
Well,
You have something here,
Oh.
an event coming up before we run out of time.
my hobby is to honor St. Joseph.
St. Joseph, okay.
At the
So
Staten.
tell us about this.
I mean, it was done before many years. Many people honor St. Joseph, the patron saint of the worker. All right. So I have decided that I will host a St. Joseph evening, a regular family style at the Staten. It's a Tuesday night, March 15th. There's a price on here. You could see there, all right, $75, $85, and naturally you see the Italian pastries there.
Oh, that looks good.
You see the picture of St. Joseph.
He looks good,
all
too,
right?
with baby Jesus.
And I'm really proud as we go along that we're going to entertain us here. So that's what that's all about.
Okay, I just wanted to
That's
give
my
St.
hobby.
Joseph a plug here
That's my-
because he's important, too.
Well, a lot of Josephs are plumbers. So,
Really?
of course.
I didn't
of
know
course.
that.
Now, you remember Moonstruck?
Yes.
Moonstruck. All right, he was a plumber that had the
that's right.
Cadillac. Most
Okay.
of the time, plumbers, the first thing they do is they buy a Cadillac, right?
Hey.
And all the plumbers. And
Are
the
they
Moonstruck.
Italian, though, too?
In Italian,
There
of
we go.
course. All right. So
There we go.
That's right.
Okay, I don't know how much time we have, but I
All
have
right.
another topic.
Another topic, right? Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to go into this flat roof. Okay, we're going to
You got two
talk about
topics
this.
really in there.
Okay, there's two. Flat roof is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So just give the, okay, we have a few minutes left. Give us a summary of what this is and why it's important for Staten Islanders and for people who are interested in this.
Final flat roof is another concept that somebody brought to me relative to issues that flat roof residences and commercial establishments primarily have. And this has been around well over 10 years too, and it comes with all kinds of certifications and credentials. It's a Kevlar-infused polymer. It's a bonding agent. It goes on a flat roof almost like painting it with a roller. It's a very thick polymer. It bonds, it adheres itself to the roof. It's a reflective, it's a remissive. It stops leaks, it seals, it preserves, it's Energy Star rated, and it has an R19 insulating factor, which means you're going to reduce your energy bills 25 to 40% without even talking about solar energy. You don't tear the old roof off, it goes right on top of the roof. And unlike most business improvements, which an owner has to deduct as a depreciation over the life of the asset, this is generally fully deductible to them right up front. It's a phenomenal tool. It's easy to go on, it's deductible, it's an insulator, and more importantly, we've had problems in recent years with residential flat roofs and getting solar energy on there because solar companies don't want to make the intrusions on a flat roof because we'll have leaks. I can now, with confidence, go to a residential flat roof owner, show them how we can put this on first, not have to worry about leaks, and because it's an insulator, I don't need a big solar system now. I could use a smaller one. Again, green, effective, efficient, and savings.
Environmental.
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 look,
We have
come-
time to go into the last issue, or we're going to come back?
How much time do we have? Somebody? The time? 1 minute?
1 minute.
1
Just
minute.
say the topic in a
Well,
summary.
we have a bed bug solution.
Bed bugs.
Bed bugs. If you, most of the hotels, it's showing up, it's in the paper all the time.
Movies,
People,
anywhere.
Anywhere. Bed bugs are very important. We have a green, non-toxic solution.
Environmentally safe
Environmentally
application.
safe that we're going to introduce and see where it goes. Okay? Because I myself went into some of these large buildings, and the thing is, when you move mattresses around and
Yeah.
put them out in the hallways, you're actually spreading the bed bugs.
Oh, they're all over the
Pat,
place.
final thing I would
Yes.
tell your
In
audience,
summary.
think green, think your environment,
That's right.
think savings.
Green, green, green.
Do it.
All
Green.
green.
Green, green, green. You have a beautiful green.
Oh.
Did you know that you were going to put a green blouse on
Well, I
today?
figured green.
Look
you
at it,
know.
you're green.
St. Patrick's Day. too,
St.
is coming
Patrick's
up.
Day is green.
That's right.
So,
Okay. We
Pat,
have,
thank you for having us here tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no
Thank you,
problem.
Pat.
You know, it's important for people to be educated with these matters. Environmental issues.
I'm enjoying myself.
I know you.
You know,
enjoy.
because you know and the best thing is I met Nikki.
You've done your research, both of you.
Thank you.
And high-powered talkers, speakers, lecturers, it's important to get the word out. Because
Absolutely.
people want to know about this, especially on Staten Island. This is Staten Island SIC TV. So we got about 1 minute left.
Okay? We really want to
Okay.
thank you. We really want to thank you. My cell number, 1917-751-4488 for any questions. 1917-751-4488.
Okay.
And I'll come in a flash.
Okay. And or you can reach me at
you go.
SIC TV,
Right.
100 Cable Way. I'll be in touch with the researchers. Okay. We want to educate the public. How are we doing with time? We're good? Are we good? Keep going? We're gone.
We're gone.
Thanks, Helene, director. Hector is there for audio. Jojo Kazuchi is there. And Bernadette. And the professor. Okay, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.